And we're live. Imogen's not here. The title's wrong. What we're going to do is just kind of a mutual chat. So, Shannon, you please tell us about the courses that you've been on and might go on in future.
So I've taken the wisdom of the Enneagram. So what that was like was I actually mistyped myself going in there, but it was how I am each one of the types. And then I found out which ones I was the strongest in. I could see what lenses I looked at the world through, the different types. And at the end of that workshop, I realized what my type was and my tri-type and wing.
What lenses does it have for the types? Is there any like new information that you can break to the audience?
For example, we were going through the numbers and like type 5, how do I hoard information? Or the unhealthy side, and the more healthy side is how do I collect information and use that with the world. Type 6 was more about my relationship with authority. That's how I realized I was a 6. I really focus on an external authority. I thought I was a 5, but I would have more of a lean toward an internal authority if I was a 5, I think. So yeah, and then when they got to type 1, it was kind of like I could see the phi dominance in me with the type 1. How I would look at other people and want them to, I guess, act a certain way or believe a certain way based on my belief system. So I see my oneness where I will impose certain ways of being. And when we got to 3, it was kind of comparing, and a little bit of the unhealthy side was being materialistic. I can see that trait in myself. But it's also like springing to action and doing what needs to be done. So yeah, the 6-1-3 really was strong for me. 2, I was so low in that I just couldn't even, I couldn't see myself as 2. But I look at the Enneagram as I would like to embody the best parts of each type. So, like the Ascended Masters were able to move and be motivated from within each type. So I like to see all of the Enneagram numbers. I try to put myself in the shoes of each type and each instinct to try to see the world from a different way and try to come from a different aspect of myself, if that makes sense.
When you said there about the 3, and when you looked at your particular traits, and so you know your traits that are quite 3-ish, and also you see yourself as ISFP and ESI. Are some of those traits that you see as 3-ish, are they also make sense from a Jungian point of view, in that, oh, these things sound SE-ish, like when you said there about taking action? I just wondered if, in other words, are a lot of your 3-ish traits SE traits?
Yeah, so it's like looking at what I have in my environment, quickly scanning, knowing my surroundings and what tools I have available to get done what needs to get done quickly, efficiently, knowing where I am in space, being able to read other people's body language around me, to know what I need to do to help them, to help the process, I guess.
Right. Any follow-up questions, Jonathan?
Not at the moment. Ben, say something.
Okay, I will say something. So, this is the course you've been on. Was this the Wisdom of the Enneagram course, Shannon?
Yeah, I
Right.
took that with Jenny Campbell in 2017.
Right. Which were the courses that you're thinking of taking up next?
So I'm going to take the Instincts workshop, again with Jenny Campbell in Boston. She's teaching with her son, and they have a great dynamic when they're teaching. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's in March. So yeah, I think that the instincts is something not to gloss over. I think the instincts have a lot to do with type and motivation.
Yes. Yes, I do. So I'm taking a whole bunch of courses on the instincts. Like I'm trying to get certified, so it's basically a whole bunch of courses back to back. They're all online with Catherine Fowler. So we've done one on the regular types, then we've done a bunch on tri-type, and now we're in a bunch of mini courses on the instincts. So yeah, but all kinds of things like how you can see them in. Well, there's one where I was a bit rude, where she was giving examples of music, how you can listen to the instincts in music by the type of things they're singing about and stuff. And I made a little joke in the comments that she didn't like at all. Was basically that how much I didn't like her certain songs she chose. I didn't mean it in a bad way, but that came off quite wrong. So yeah, and she gave exemplars, so she like hundreds of faces and celebrities that she typed by certain instincts. So someone's a self-pres, someone's a social, sex, whatever, and you can see it in their faces. And yeah, I think there's another instincts course coming up. I can't remember. The last one was about type relations, and how the instincts show various show up in relations, and how they approach romance and stuff. I can't remember what the next one's about, but I know there's an empathy course coming up, and then there's more after that. So I've had a busy year and a half so far. I think it's a year and a half. Or I've had a busy year, that's it, with Catherine's courses, and more to come.
Well, we're still gratified to have you on the channel, Jonathan.
Yeah, they're quite late on Tuesday for me, so I soldier on. Yeah.
So, Shannon, which particular areas of the theory are you most interested in when it comes to Enneagram?
I'm actually most interested in the instincts. A lot of people, when they first come to the Enneagram, they look at the stereotypes of each number, and if they're the counter type, they may not recognize themselves. It's hard for people to type themselves, I think, without the instincts. And for me, I couldn't take a counterphobic 6. I'm the 1-to-1 blind, so I'm self-preservation first, social, and then the 1-to-1 I'm blind. So I used to try to be counterphobic. I used to try to score counterphobic on the tests, and I can't if I'm 1-to-1 blind. So I'm a phobic 6, what I'm trying to say. And I think that when you have a 6 who doesn't know their type yet, if they don't know the instinct, they're going to have a really hard time. It's going to take them years to find their type, I think, unless they look at the instincts.
Yeah, that can be true. The instincts can, especially if we're going by the older descriptions, the instincts can affect how well you relate to them. I'll say a couple of things. You're saying sexual blind and stuff. So it was actually Catherine who says that she came up with that term blind, and the term one-to-one, and she doesn't actually like them because she regrets writing that. So just say that it's probably more like a hidden. Your last instinct is more like a hidden agenda rather than your blind spot per se. She thinks your second instinct is more like your blind spot in a way because you take it for granted because you're more comfortable with it. You kind of wing it. You're not as bothered by that. Whereas the last instinct, as you get older, you'll be a bit more concerned with it usually. Like you'll creep up on you. She also doesn't like the term one-to-one anymore, which she also came up with. She's not sure what to call the sexual instinct, but it's because everyone wants one-to-one. They just want it in their own particular way. So the way a sexual instinct wants one-to-one relationships is different from how a social instinct might. A social instinct might want to one-to-one if they're very shy, for instance. Or self-pres may want if, again, also if they're shy or if there's only someone they're interested in. But the sexual instinct is more like they want to fall in love all the time. They want that experience, that initial attraction. They want to maintain it as long as possible. That makes sense. In regards to phobic six, yes, the sexual instinct usually is the counterphobic six, but tri-type can play a part as well. So I think it is possible to be sexual blind and counterphobic, but you have to have something like an 8 in your tri-type. So that'd be very rare. I think Putin might be that actually. It'd be just kind of a hybrid sort of thing, a mixture of phobic and counterphobic. But self-pres, social 136 or 613, whatever. Yeah, that would be a more phobic tri-type.
Can someone be a sexual six without being counterphobic?
If they've got maybe 9 or maybe perhaps 1 in their tri-type, it would produce something a bit more in the middle. Like the sexual instinct kind of is usually counterphobic, or at least mildly phobic, I suppose. I think with the sexual instinct, it's almost like they're trying to be what they would be attracted to. So all sexes, even if they're phobic and they're subservient to authority, they do have a slight counterphobic side to them. They do have the part of them that overtly they want authority, but in private they might grumble about it, and they kind of they do have a certain attraction to the rebel, even if they're condemning them. So the sexual sex is almost like playing the bad boy, the bad girl, or playing the beauty, whatever, playing the rebellious thing in order to attract that person who they can be with. That's my rambling theory, but it's somewhat true. So the sexual sex, also the sexual instinct wants excitement in general. The sexual instinct needs the rush. If they can't get it from a relationship, they'll usually try and find it in something else. So the sexual instinct by itself just leans towards counterphobic a bit already, I would say.
Right. So you mentioned there something about being a grumbler and grumbling, and Shannon smiled. So are you a grumbler, Shannon, in that area?
Well, I was also laughing because I was thinking about how Hollywood kind of I was thinking about the villains, the counterphobic villain, like the bad boy, that archetype almost that they have in Hollywood. It's like I would say that is a blind spot for me. I know that it's there. The sexual instinct is there for me, but it's like I am speaking for myself, I'm so blind to it.
That is, I mean, is that odd for you when it's like when you think, hang on a minute, I'm an FI Dom, so you're aware of FI things in other areas, but not aware in it in that area?
Maybe it's not that I'm not aware of it, it's that I judge it and I push it away. So it's like a tension point for me.
So what makes you think you're an ISFP 613 or ISFP, for instance? Because I do find that a slightly unusual combination. Usually the 613 is more like ISTJs or INTJs or ESTJs sort of thing. Maybe.
I usually test as INFJ. But I relate to Phi C dominance. I relate to having my own set of beliefs, and I'm so strong in them that it's really hard to sway me in believing away from that. And then the SE part is, I guess, physical activity for me. Being in my body, being like physically adept and coordinated, and kind of making games out of tasks based on where, like using my body as a tool to get things done.
Could you give us an example, Shannon, when you said there, using your body as a tool to get things done?
Like, if I have, one trip from the car with the groceries, I'm going to see how much I can stack on my arms, and I'm going to know how much weight I can carry and get it all in one trip, that sort of thing. And it's a game.
Yeah.
How can I balance something here, and can I put this amount of weight here? And then that's fun for me.
Yeah, that sounds like artisan temperament, in trying to, in the little moments, an opportunity to sort of like express individuality through an action, I would say.
Yeah, I can do that a bit, but I'm not very good at it.
Shannon,
I would drop them.
Can you because unfortunately Jonathan wasn't in the artisan hangout when we went through the artisan. So because this relates to Enneagrams, could you please tell us about what the things that you used to do, like with counterphobic 6 stuff, like jumping on stuff? I think you said you used to jump on an ice cream truck or something, shame up the boys.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the ice cream truck would come down the road and I would jump on the back of it and take it for a ride. And I didn't know what the next stop was going to be, because it was like, well, if kids came out, he would stop. If none of my neighbors came out of their house, I went for quite a long ride, but I didn't care.
See, having SE last, I do relate to wanting to do that, but I wouldn't. I get it. I do have kind of like, I was born with club feet, so I had surgery on my feet and stuff, so I'm not very comfortable with my feet at times. I think if my feet were more normal, I may have actually tried that one day. Or, well, I probably wouldn't have done it, but, you know, I did with, like, the idea of, like, you know, a train's leaving and you're missing it and you just go jump on it and hold on to it until it gets to the next stop. Then you get on. That's a bit more extreme than what you were saying, but...
yeah, I used to do things like that a lot, like jumping into a 50-gallon drum barrel and rolling down a big hill in my backyard.
Were you in a cartoon? It sounds like something was in a cartoon.
Yeah. Well, I was raised in the country, and so I had to make my own fun. I was riding four-wheelers and dirt bikes. I was riding a dirt bike when I was 5. I loved it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. Even people who are not, so for example, Nicole, INTP female, Oh, I didn't even say female. They call it sort of like implicit. Anyway, so she would grow up in the country. So it's like even INFPs and INTPs, if they grow up in the country and they're doing all that outdoorsy thing, then if people don't know their biography, they go, "You look like an artisan." No, I just grew up in the country. So it's like, I think the thing she would do would be, there would be less extreme, more the SI kind of stuff, rather than you're actually doing things that are a challenge and involve a little bit of danger. Things like that.
So what would she do then?
Nicole, I think it was just generally hiking and fishing, things like that. She still does the fishing now. Well, she did a few years ago. Yeah.
Fishing bores me. I tried hunting and shooting guns. I like the guns part, but I don't have the patience for, I guess, sitting and waiting. I like the action.
Okay.
Is that ISFP enough for you, Jonathan?
No, but so.
I don't mind. We've got time to fill.
Maybe.
If you want to ask questions to ascertain ISFP.
No, I'm not in the mood for that. It's just because of the kind of background and upbringing, it's all tricky to see if that's ISFP or if that's like just the environment. Like other times may be doing some of this stuff.
Okay.
But
I would say if people watch the hangout, we did a good hangout with Shannon on the Kersey artisan. No, sorry, the tactical intellect of the artisans. We got some good stuff in that, and then we did the first half. We got through about the first 4 or 5 paragraphs of the Kersey ISFP profile, and we had Shannon and Imogen going through that together. And
so how many hours did that one last, by the way?
Well, the one with the Kersey ISFP.
Yeah, 4 or 5 plus 4 or 5 paragraphs of the Kersey ISFP that last like
a couple of hours.
Yeah. Considering we were just watching, the talking with famous people thing, I'm just wondering what they would have made of that.
I thought that was gold. What did you think?
I'm sure it was very good. It was just like, it's kind of like exemplifies exactly what they were talking about.
It was great
so
stuff.
Shannon
and Jeff and Imogen. I mean, What more do you want?
Obviously nothing, because that's fantastic. This is what we come to this channel for.
Yeah, that was great.
I think I've seen a bit of it. I'm not sure. I need to watch it again.
Seriously, did we do that last week, Shannon? Did we do ISFP healer last week?
No, last week we did.
Yeah, last week.
Type 7.
Oh yes, Chrissy. Yeah.
2.
Yeah. But is it in recent memory enough for you to remember what did you think of that hangout with Imogen? The one with when we went through the Kersey profile, half of it anyway.
That was good. She's very descriptive. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure I'm ISFP, but that's, I think, what I relate to the most.
Yeah, and also ISFP is one of those types where it's just like ISTP. ISTP can be a bit like, I'm going to say this, I'm going to be a little bit undiplomatic, but I'm going to say this. Smart ISTPs can be like INTJ, and smart ISFPs can be like INFJ. But what I mean by smart, and I mean smart in an abstract sense. So if they're interested in intellectual things, then they start looking like an intuitive, in quotation marks. So, and he can also go from the reverse, where, so I asked Dario if he admires ISTP, and he said that he admires some of the traits of ISTP. And he talked about his brother, his ability to ride a motorcycle in Italy. And as you know, Italian road traffic is quite hairy, and so that ability to like take risks readily and act with skill. So this thing within that benefit pair seems to be a thing where I'll ask you, Shannon, what do you like about INFJs? What kind of things, what qualities do they have that you admire and you think maybe you'd like to be better at?
Oh, what they have that I would love to be better at is
Yeah.
their ability to prioritize a task and kind of start right away on getting it done.
I don't do
Their
that.
organization skill.
Okay, you're thinking of a different type. I don't know what that's. No, sorry, that's not. INFJs will like to do that. Like I like to, I will know exactly what to do. When I have a task, I will envision it. I'll know exactly what to do, and then I won't do it. Like I will leave it to the absolute last minute, and then if I'm very lucky, I will cram it all the way through. Like when I was at school and university, a lot of the time I'd have an essay I have to hand in so many weeks, and I'll go to the question and I'll figure out, okay, here's what the question is. Here's what question I'm choosing. I've got a rough idea of what I'm going to write. I'll do it later. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. In a few days, I'll do some reading and I'll research for it, and when's it due? Oh, it's due tomorrow. I better get started, and then cram it all in at the last minute and burn myself out. My dissertation was hilarious. Can you imagine doing a 10,000-word dissertation in the last couple of weeks? Because it's possible. You can do it. I do not recommend it, but you can do it.
Hey, what about I did? I had a project where it was for analyzing diet, and I had all this data about what people were eating. One of them was a bit of a joke one. It looked like the person had 3 dinners in a day. And but you see, what I should have done in hindsight was go and then look up all the things in the supermarket and see what I didn't know how to analyze it, and so basically I just wrote out what was in the book, and I got ungraded on the project.
Yeah, I never get my results back either for that dissertation.
Yeah.
Awful.
So I got a 2-1, but I got 0 ungraded for that, and then I realized sometimes, that's why they wouldn't let me do a PhD because I was bad on that project. I should have just done a research one. Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
So Jonathan, do you think that there's like a difference in how you set aside time for tasks, depending on whether you're at work or at school versus like personal life? Do you think there's like a shadow side, like 2 different ways that you do it depending on what it is?
Could you give an example?
Like if your friend needs you to do something, are you more likely to start on it right away and get it done quicker, or
if someone needs me to do something, perhaps it depends on what it is, and there's a few factors there. Usually, my problem is if I've got a task that I don't need to do right away, I will probably not do it right away. I will probably just get lost in daydream land or spend too much time on the internet or rushing my thoughts or whatever. Spend more time imagining what to do than I do actually doing stuff. Some of that's problems unique to me or my tri-type and stuff. Because I know that other INFJs are a bit more productive, but it does seem to be. I think there's also 2 subtypes of INFJ. If you're going using socionics and Darwin-Hardy, so that might be the intuitive subtype, which is a bit less productive, I think, whereas the feeling subtype is a bit more active. Yeah. But basically, there's a whole lot of. My middle name is procrastination. Basically, my phone. Yeah, my full name is Jonathan James Procrastination for one Campbell.
Yeah. It's interesting some of the things you said there, Shannon, about the qualities that you admire in INFJ. If you say those again, we can sort of tell if you because also some of those things, they sounded like kind of things that INTJ might be good at.
I think I'm
or
talking
IST.
about A's maybe.
No.
They're actually kind of like what your tri-type is meant to be good at, though, the organizational stuff and getting things done. Although the 613 will get things done, but they'll also get things done to avoid anxiety, to keep themselves busy.
Yeah.
So can a counterphobic 6, or maybe this particular tri-type, it's like they're almost, and in rebelling against themselves, they're actually rebelling against something that's actually a positive aspect of themselves. So it's like the 6 is organized, and then someone's a counterphobic, say, "Oh, I've taken on that fear. Oh, but I yes, I want to take on my fears, but I don't really want to lose that organizational ability with it." So it's sort of like the baby is thrown out with the bathwater, almost, I suppose.
Well, the charophobic 6, the stereotype of the charophobic 6 is that they're very rebellious and that they're rebelling against parental authority and all substitutes of parental authority, whereas the phobic 6 is submitting to authority to protect itself. And the charophobic 6 is more overtly distrustful. It's almost like the charophobic 6, at least stereotypically, is thinking there's a part of them that wants authority and they feel like thinks that they need authority to survive in the world and depend upon, but they've learned through experience or cynicism, however, that even authority cannot be trusted, and that makes them especially hostile to authority, because it's like the authority is not doing its job, the authority is corrupt, the authority is evil, the authority needs to be replaced or put in its place. That's the stereotype, at least. So it's like kind of like the stereotype would be, you know, someone who's raised like in a very conservative household and rebels and then becomes a communist or becomes a Satanist or all those things. I've seen charophobic 6s like that. So yeah, that's kind of the stereotype of the rebellious charophobic 6. There's other ways it can manifest though, because it's really about confronting fear. So yeah, I think Catherine said that she thinks Oscar Pistorius is a sexual 6 of this tri-type, a sexual 613 or 61.
I remember we had a section on him.
Yeah,
because I showed the images, and then his wife as well.
Yeah, so he's the Olympic athlete, the Blade Runner, with the Paralympic athlete who had blades and who ended up killing his girlfriend because he said that he thought she was a burglar, even though he shot through their bathroom door like 5 or 6 times. Yeah, so basically Catherine, and people were hearing them argue and stuff. So basically Catherine was saying that she thinks she watched interviews with him and stuff, and he seems so much like a counterphobic 6, which I don't know if she meant it this way, but that might imply that, you know, he really did think that she was a burglar, even though that's crazy. But he was super paranoid.
Well, to me, that sounds like a
probably made up.
Made up story. So one of the things I get with the 6, so
obviously that would be a very unhealthy counterphobic 6.
Yes.
By the way,
yes. It's what are they called? Disclaimers out there.
Yes.
So Jonathan has frequently said that SJs will have a 6 in their tri-type. What I'm wondering is, in all of these descriptions of the 6, there's obviously the people who write these profiles, they don't all know Jungian type in depth. And so maybe are they in other words, all the stuff that's in the E6 profile about seeking authority, do you think, well, that's fine if that 6 is also an SJ? But what happens when that 6 is not an SJ? Is it too much towards the seeking authority stuff in the profiles?
I would say that the profiles are generally based on SJ6s, yes. I wouldn't say that non-SJ6s don't have these issues about authority, but perhaps they don't have them quite as much. So it is still there, even if you're an NF6 or an NT6 or a SP6, whatever, but it's not the way an SJ would necessarily. Like, it's more, well, it would vary so much by type, but like I have seen people who I think are INTJ6s, and they're probably more likely to philosophize about authority and make abstract arguments for it.
Do they want to be the authority?
Not necessarily, no. Like, in fact, sixes in general don't always want to be the authority. Quite often they don't. Like, with 6, it's more like a Spider-Man thing where with great power comes great responsibility. And they're worried that if they have great power, that would make them responsible for everything, so they don't want it. But they don't want to be powerless either. So there's kind of like a love-hate with having power. They want... I think most sixes will want just enough authority to be safe, to not be powerless, but not so much authority that they're going to be blamed when things go wrong or have people with the pitchforks out for them. Yeah. So even if they're like, for example, Hitler is sometimes considered a counterphobic 6, and obviously a very psychotic one. But even though he's the all-powerful dictator of Germany, he was still fighting against an even more powerful conspiracy of Jews and whatnot that ran the world. There's always something bigger than them, either to submit to or to fight against. I don't know what you said.
He said he thought.
Yes.
We're not anti-Semites here.
Yes, I'm not saying Jews actually run the world, but in his mind, there's something bigger to either fight against or to submit to, even if you're the one actually running.
I like how you said, Jonathan, there, some people think he's Enneagram counterphobic. It's as if you've not done a video with me, especially to make that point that you thought Hitler was a counterphobic 6.
Yes, and I am one of those people. But I've heard arguments for others.
And that's a video that should do a lot better than what it is. I mean, how are videos on Trump?
Actually, it wasn't explicitly to do with the 6th thing. It was actually to do with that he's an EFJ.
Yeah. One person did not like that. I think it was an EFJ was there in person. They were highly offended. But
I don't think they were offended. I think they said that I don't agree with you because ENFJs can't be psychopaths. That's basically what they're saying.
Wow.
I think that's what they were saying. Which is... it's like, that just means he's not a psychopath. If that's the case, he's a sociopath or whatever.
Yeah, if people want to know more about Hitler, go to the channel Tick History. And so the Tick stands for The Imperator Knight, but his YouTube channel, if you just type in Tick History, you'll find him. And just a little point on Hitler is that, so he didn't have what Stalin had, because Stalin had the commissars. He had a lot more control over the Red Army than Hitler had over the German army, the Wehrmacht, especially early on in the war. And he trusted his generals a lot more. And also there was that German tradition of mission command. Now, the whole thing, and Tick has done a video called Why Germany Lost the World War II Oil. In September 1941, the Germans were going to run out of oil. So the main reason they invaded the Soviet Union was to get the oil. Now, Hitler was there saying, we've got to go towards the south to get the oil. And the generals, they wanted to duplicate what they did when they defeated France and go for the city, all thinking on a tactical level rather than on a strategic logistical level. And so the compromise was supposed to be, okay, 1/3 of the force will go towards the north, but 2/3 of the force is going to go towards the Caucasus and the oil. But powder disobeyed Hitler and had the bulk of the forces go towards the north rather than the south. So Hitler's relationship with his generals is part of it. And also what you get is after the war, you've got people writing for memoirs, and you've got these German generals who are now in NATO and lecturing in the United States, blaming Hitler and things like that, and painting a different picture from what actually happened at the time. So that's just some information that I've learned from watching Tick's channel.
We interrupt this Enneagram hangout for a history lesson.
Am I wrong, Jonathan?
Not a bad history lesson, but still.
Yeah. You've read quite a few books on Mr. H. Anyhow. So, Shannon, do you have anything to add to what Jonathan said there about sixes?
Oh yeah, that was a jaunt. What were we talking about? We were talking about counterphobic 6.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've got something I can ask you. So, in these descriptions, what is it like for you within yourself? This sort of battle between wanting authority and not wanting authority. Have you got like specific examples?
Yeah, I could really relate to what Jonathan was saying, like kind of almost like an 8-ish way of not wanting to have other people have authority over me. But also I don't want to be the fall guy. I don't want to be the one who is out front, and I don't want to be the visible one that if something fails, I don't want it to be my fault. I want others to have power. Like, I like the tribal power dynamic more than I like one person at the top, like a pyramid or a silo. I prefer everyone around me to realize their power, and then it's shared. And yeah, I don't really want to have, I don't know, I don't want to have too much power, because it does come with a lot of responsibility. And I find that when people look to me as a leader, I often will say, well, what do you think should happen? I always find myself wanting to share the responsibility of leadership with others. When they come to me for an answer, I want them to also come with a solution. So
yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like you see authority as kind of a necessary evil, rather than it's not good. It's not good. It's just better than the alternative. You don't. It's less that you like order and more that you fear chaos. Perhaps you're more afraid of chaos than you are of. It's not a desire for structure and hierarchy. It's just that that's better than the alternative, which might be like everyone for themselves and anyone could just knock on your door, or whatever.
Yeah, I do prefer order over chaos, certainly.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to do that thing where I ask Jonathan what he thinks of these, because that became a moment. I don't know if you've seen that, Shannon.
That's all right.
I have seen them. They're small.
Yeah, the bit where I say...
so, Jonathan, what do you think of this? Well, Ben, for the 1,034th time, they're okay.
Right. So I'm thinking, so for you, Shannon, if we go through this, which bits are on point, which bits are not like you, or which bits are not like your understanding of the type, that kind of thing. Is Naranjo gone out on his own idiosyncratic path, like with the 7 and the 8, or?
Okay, so first off, I'm going to be a bit distracted because I can't see it.
Okay, I will send it to you if you've not already. It depends if you can.
Well,
I'm going to catch the live broadcast of this so
Well,
that
can
I
you-
can see it on
Okay,
the bigger
well,
screen.
I've zoomed it in. Whilst I zoom it in, I'll go send it to you.
Okay, I can see it now. Thank
Right.
you.
Right.
So counterphobic, confront, rage, retreat. Okay, so yeah, I can relate to the SP, the self-pres retreat. I'm a withdrawer. And I can definitely be rigid. So rigidity, I can see that.
Yeah, I'm just.
I don't know if that's an FI trait.
Yeah, it could be the one as well. In
Yeah. Yeah, I score so high in one that oftentimes I'll score as one, type 1 in tests. I did a longitudinal study where there were questions every day for 7 weeks, and I came out as a 1. But 1 wing 9, but I don't identify as 1 being my lead. So any type 6 needs everything under control. Yeah, I get uncomfortable with chaos if it's extended. I can act very quickly in a chaotic situation, like somebody falls down the stairs. I can instantly think what needs done in what order. But if it's just chaotic all the time, I'm not good with that. Over alert, yes. I am definitely hyper aroused. Intellectually devoted to reason. Pugnacity. I'm going to have to look that one up. Rule bound. I want to know what the rules are so that I can bend them as needed.
Ah.
But I definitely like to know what all the rules are.
That's interesting. That's where your artisan-ish nature came through, so that you know how to bend them when needed. That's an SJ would not say that.
No. Pugnacity means eager to get in arguments or quick to get in arguments or fight, so on. Like reactive, basically.
Oh, huh.
Devil's advocate.
Devil's advocate. In a gentle way, devil's advocate definitely applies, but not in a confrontational way. But I definitely want to help people to challenge their beliefs, see it from a different view.
That's one of the weird things with, because that's also one of the traits of FI is, I think one of the traits of FI is rapport, because I think that FI connects. I think FP is, they want a connection with people, and in order to get a connection with people, they sort of have to be on the same level. So it's not that kind of directive relationship that you can get with the NFJs can, if they fall into a pattern of advising people, then you start getting into a directee kind of role. Of course, they're going to have relationships that don't fall into those roles. But,
not really.
Go on, Jonathan.
Not really. We don't really. No, like every single thing I do is I'm directing. Even if I don't know it.
So do you think that is? I mean, because I've said, I know let's see if this is right, or makes sense rather. Do you think INFJs are directive because they see the goal?
Yeah. Basically. Or I think I see the goal. Usually sometimes if I really start to understand the other person's point of view, it turns out we have quite different goals. And so what they're doing is quite different from what I thought they were doing or going for, or maybe we are going for the same thing, but they've got this secondary objective, it's an agenda sort of thing. Like if it's a 6, for example, like if a 1 and a 6 see a problem, they'll both want to get it solved, but the 6 might have the extra agenda of wanting to, complain or validate their feelings or pressure others into solving the problem, whereas the 1's going to be focused much more on just getting the problem fixed and more in terms of, as long as it's more of a tension between the practical right way versus the morally right way sort of thing. They're not going to want to let off steam as much as a 6. So I had to learn that because a lot of the times before I learned, or as I was learning Enneagram, there was people who were interested in particular issues that I thought were important. But I looked at them and I thought, okay, your heart's in the right place, but you're going about it in a weird way. And then I learned about type, and I figured out their types, and I realized, oh, you're actually not doing that. What you're doing makes perfect sense if you believe X, Y, and Z. If you have this particular objection, or if you're not trying to achieve it in the way I think you are, yeah. And that the other thing though is that if I'm in that situation, I can see the other person's point of view, but I can also see the third person's point of view, and the fourth person's point of view, and the fifth person's point of view. So I can see how the other person is not seeing someone else's point of view as well. Does that make sense? Like, I can anticipate or intuit how other people are going to react to what this person is saying or doing, and how to sidestep it.
Yeah, that's a little bit like control any in INFJ, NIFX, in that you're aware of any stuff, like the various other options, but you don't act on them because it would be.
Well, in a way, it's saying stuff. Like I'm anticipating if you continue down this path, here's where you end up.
Yeah,
and it's not where you think you're going to be, so, or where you want to be. I don't think so. Try this way. Yeah. But you also have to be careful about how you say things, not just what you say. You have to tailor your speech. There's a lot of nuance to it.
Yeah, Kersey wrote something about that, about NFs tailoring their speech in his words section in Personology. So, Shannon, can you see it okay now? Have you got it?
I've pulled it up. Yeah, I can see it now.
Right, okay. Now, so that means I can go. So, Jonathan, if I go like this, can you see that fine?
Yes.
Right. I thought the 4 on this was a little bit harsh. The one for the 4.
How so?
I just thought it concentrated a lot on the negative parts of the type.
Well, maybe the 4 doesn't see them as negative. Like, bring it up then.
Okay, I'll put the 4 on, yeah. But
isn't that the general complaint of the Enneagram?
Well,
when people first discover, they're like, "Well, that sounds bad. I can't."
What made me think of it was, okay, if I find out someone's a 4 and I send it to them, and I'm thinking, well, what? They might react negatively to all of these things on there, these negative aspects.
Masochistic purchase. Well, some of this stuff is good, some bad. Like, likes distinctive creative work isn't bad.
Yeah.
Quality and purpose rather than quantity isn't bad. Must feel respected isn't necessarily bad. A gift for challenging. Appreciates special skilled authority, blah. Yeah. I'd say that about the top. Holds grudge. That's actually, I would say that's a reactive type thing in general. So 4 might have that, but 6 and 8 will have that as well for different reasons. Like usually with the 6, it's more a case of safety. Like, you've wronged me before. I don't want to be hurt again, so I'm not going to forgive you in case you hurt me again, or in case you break the rules again, or whatever. And with the 8, it's more a power thing. Like, I don't want to. If I let you do this, then that's like I gave you permission. Whereas if I get revenge on you, then that's reasserting my power for the 8. With the 4, it's more. And in a way, for all of them, it's more like, this is real. This is authentic. I am mad at you, and that's a real thing I'm feeling, and so I have to honor that. Just always, any moment. Some of this is actually all 6s, like complaining and stuff. No offense. No offense.
It's not quite as negative as I.
As you remember, Jess.
Yeah.
But you're pretty sure you have 4 in your tri-types. Maybe that was just like a bad experience.
Yeah.
Say more about yourself.
I just thought. Right. So anyway, getting back on track to the 6. There we go. Because I mean, we're not really going through this. It's just something to get us talking about it as like for 6-ish things. So, where I would put it is. You want your authorities to be an authority that you can walk away from, that also you don't have to follow. It's just that you choose to follow the authority. You don't actually want to put yourself in a situation where you're committed to the authority. Is that
it's
it?
The authority of the day.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I can see that. Following loyally until it doesn't serve anymore, and then, yeah, it's almost like the INFJ door slam. Once that authority no longer serves, bye-bye, new one, next.
That's a little bit artisan-y, where it's like Jeff will say that the SJs don't understand why suddenly just changes and is no longer the baseball guy. But you were the baseball guy. We had you pegged as the baseball guy. Why did you change? I don't know. It just changed. So is that what it's like for you, Shannon, where you just like suddenly change and other people are perplexed by it?
Oh, yeah. I will quit a job, move to another state, completely turn my life upside down. Once my life is no longer serving me, I just decide, okay, what else is possible? And I'll just go do something different. And I'll be a part of a completely different social group and just start over. No problem. I've done that several times.
If Jeff were here, you might make him jealous. He'll have thoughts of doing that, but because he's talked about the where, in fact, this is a good example of preference versus reality, where he might say that he would have liked to have done those things, but because he was bringing his son up, it's sort of like he had to sort of play it a little bit safer because he was bringing his son up on his own.
Yeah, I protected my right to be that way by not becoming attached and not forming those bonds that were inseparable. I guess I always kept myself free in that way.
Yeah, that's something that towards the end of the Kersey profile, it talks about an ISFP mother, where it will be, and they said something like, as soon as the children grow up, they're out of there. painting in the mountains, something like that. It's sort of like getting that balance right between the FI commitments to people and then their own freedom. And of course,
Yeah.
it would have been great if Kersey Senior was still around and people could talk to him about the Enneagram stuff to like show how they vary, and he would say, "Yeah, you're right."
He'd probably say this is all unscientific nonsense. Where's your evidence? Where's your studies?
Yeah, but then you could say to him, "But hang on a minute, all this other stuff is lovely and empirical, Dr. Kersey, but you talk about what goes on inside people's heads too."
Yeah, he might say, "Not really, I don't."
You talk about, but again, he was INTP resemble. He'd be open. He'd be accommodator.
Well, in public, yeah, but in his head, maybe not. In his TI thing, just like, nah. Yes.
It depends. It depends, though. I mean, if it was, yeah. Anyway, it was blatant speculation, but I think he would be open to it. It's just like I was thinking today. Carl Jung wrote 3 times about hypnosis, and I was thinking, did he ever write anything about Milton Erickson? So I'll have to look that up later on. Right. So where did we leave off with this, Shannon, in terms of the...
So I'm curious how you have this categorized by color.
Well,
It's not me. It's not me.
Yeah.
It's Nick Helbig. This is too fancy for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the very center, you'll see the lines, and it kind of explains it. So some of it's the shadow stuff, like the defense mechanism, talking style, avoidance, trap. The green stuff in the right-hand corner is all passion, holy idea, conflict, etc. Stuff at the bottom is at work.
There's a bit where I'll just show you on this graphic. I've sort of superimposed. I've sort of done a. If you see there, so that's like I said. That's just to remind that. So that's all the miscellaneous stuff. There, and all the other stuff is like categorized, and yeah, basically Nick Helbig created these for herself to help remember the Enneagrams.
Well, I think the yellow stuff is all idealization.
Yeah, I've tried to look for is there a consistent coloring across them, but not quite.
It's more consistent than not, but it's not totally consistent because it's just a bunch of bullet points.
Usually the work stuff is in green, but not in every case.
Anyway, so what do you think about megalomania?
Megalomania.
Yes.
Are we back? Are we back to Mr. H?
No, it's like
Mr. H.
The right hand corner. Well, not right hand corner, but like right hand middle of the page.
Right.
Yeah, middle of the page to the right. Defense mechanism.
I'm gonna actually have to look that one up.
No, it's right there. Projection, aggressivist.
No, the meaning of megalomania.
Oh, the meaning of megalomania means you're power mad. Absolutely power mad and omnipotent and stuff. Project your defense mechanism. Yeah. Because with the 6, there can be a kind of underlying megalomania, and that's where it relates to their fear of being blamed, in fact, because it's like if they're responsible, they're wholly responsible. Everything comes down to them, and then they project that sense of megalomania onto others, and so others are wholly responsible. Others are responsible if everything goes down. So it's like a wavering between being feeling really powerful and feeling utterly powerless. And if you feel really powerful, sometimes that's really good, and sometimes that's terrifying because you may be held responsible for whatever happens.
Well, you bring up an interesting point. As a 6, I do feel like I am a projector. And yeah, I could see that in 6s, in myself in 6s that I know. I could see the megalomania as being a shadow side of myself that it's so there was some kind of charge to it, like I'm physically reacting to that, so I know that there is some truth there. and I'm trying to think of an instance where that would have came into play in my life. Maybe in my unhealthy.
Maybe when you were younger. I am the greatest ice cream jump onto truck person ever.
Yeah, I mean,
truck jumper.
Could also be things like, you know, forcing other people to obey the rules, sort of thing. Like, you have the authority, and now through the authority you're powerful, or you're imposing the will of the authority on us.
Like I can throw rules at people, or policy or procedure, and remind them, hey, this is the way it's done. If it suits me too.
Yeah. There's also, if they're more counterphobic, they could be, or more rebellious, there could be a sort of megalomania in challenging the authority and bringing the authority to heel and fighting the man and stuff. Like, almost like you've projected all this power onto the authority, and you see this big, invincible, all-powerful, malevolent force, and if you can stop it, or if you can annoy it, if you can irritate it, if you can bring it down, whatever, that makes you feel really powerful because you know, you've defeated this wicked, omnipotent authority, or you've brought it down, humiliated it, or even just, you know, not like you're David and it's Goliath and you just killed it with a stone, sort of thing. That kind of mega achievement.
Well, I can see how, like, as a 6, I want to build up the authorities that I believe in. But there also could be a side of me when I go to the unhealthy. I guess the megalomania side would be when I start to chip away at that authority. So I turn.
Well, I was thinking more of the counterphobic 6 there. So it's always like the shadow of the phobic 6 is that they're anti-authority deep down, whereas the shadow of the counterphobic 6 can be that they're actually quite authoritarian deep down. They crave authority.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, you can be really loyal to one authority and really rebellious against another authority. You'll see that in politics a lot.
Yeah.
Like, my candidate is awesome and everything will be... they'll fix everything. And the other candidate is the devil, the Antichrist, and if they get in power, it's the end of the world.
Can they flip about the same person, though?
Yes. It's pretty often. But a lot of times, it's almost like a lawyer. I tend to think of like a lawyer. It's like, if you're a lawyer and you've got a case, you know, initially you've got, you know, your doubts and your skepticisms, you're not sure where to take it, unless you have to. Maybe you're told to take it. When you're in the court, when you're fighting your client's side, you're supposed to fight for your client's side. You have an obligation to be biased. You have an obligation to fight for, you know, to defend your client or to prosecute this person, whatever. And if you've got any personal doubts, you squish them, because that's not your job. Your job is to fight this corner. And the other person's job is also to fight this corner. You're not there to necessarily for accuracy. You're there to prosecute or defend. And if you do have any, you might be able, if the other side makes good points, if the other side has good arguments, that's
I logged in as myself, and I should have logged in as the other Ben.
Ow!
Sorry about that.
Anyway, if the other side makes good, because you're thinking like a lawyer, if you're 6, if the other side makes good points and has good arguments, yeah, that's fine in theory, but in practice, you can't really acknowledge that or go on with that too much. You have to still fight your corner because you have this obligation towards your side, whichever one you're loyal to. So yeah, that's a 6. That hurt.
Since I'm not a lawyer, though, I'll go one step further, and if the other side is making a valid argument, I may just jump ship.
It can be, depending how dependent you are on your side, though. It can also be on the reverse, that if you're really dependent on your side, or you're really obligated to your own side, then no matter what good points the other side makes, you still need to stick to your ship. You still need to stay with your people because you're afraid of that. And that's what 6s are.
That's when cognitive dissonance comes into play for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, in a way, that's true for everyone, but it's especially true of the 6. And that can be tricky for types that are more about accuracy than loyalty to get their heads around that. That still hurts, Ben.
I'm sorry.
I
logged in as the wrong person.
How did that? I didn't know you logged in as a banshee.
Well, I logged in as myself, and then I was so distracted by because I should log in as a different Ben. So that because he causes problems when you're logged in twice with the same account. And what I'd noticed was that I have a headphone socket plugged in, so it doesn't come through the speakers, but that was unplugged. And so when I logged in, then you had that feedback thing. So
there's a tear in the matrix.
Yes. So I apologize, folks, for that moment. So is that your talking style, setting limits, John?
Setting limits, talking style.
Yeah.
I guess I'd have to think about that one a little bit more.
Yeah. So Jonathan, how about you? Is that good is that too much towards a certain MBTI type?
Sorry, where is that?
It says there talking style, setting limits.
Can you point it out just to...
I'll point it out by
take your mouse arrow and just wave it over so I can see it.
Right there, setting limits.
Talking styles. Can be. It's like that depends. It's like,
is that mainly the SJ6s?
Perhaps, or yeah, I'd say it's not wrong. It's just a bit simplistic.
Yeah.
There's other elements, like there's a lot of making fun of themselves or making jokes. It could also be devil's advocate, as I mentioned. Sphere dimensions, or as Shannon mentioned, like spreading responsibility, like if someone, asking for other people's opinion and sort of thing.
Do you think the humor of the 6, because it's frequently cited as a humorous type, comes from self-awareness and through looking at things in a different way?
A lot of it does, yes. But it's also a way of managing their anxieties. Like they can use it to let off steam what they're scared of, or maybe they can use it to make fun of something they're scared of, or to make themselves look less arrogant, all that sort of thing. Because 6s don't want to look arrogant. They may be very arrogant deep down, but they don't want other people to think of them as arrogant. I'm not saying sixes are arrogant. I'm just saying they may to be. Depends on the six.
Yeah, I love self-deprecating humor.
Whereas I love saying I'm awesome.
Oh, I'm terrible at self-deprecating humor. But
yeah, that whole setting limits. I just don't see that as me. Setting limits and conversation style.
It's basically it's hard to say what they mean by that. And that's the issue.
I think that's hers. I think she's because a lot of this is from Naranjo, because I've seen a Facebook picture of her with Naranjo. I think maybe the talking style is because she did another graphic on the talking styles, so I think that's from her. I'll just pull that up. Does anything else in this profile sort of stand out to you, Shannon, as being out of place or not accurate?
Sorry, I'm waiting for the YouTube live to catch up so I can see it. I can't see. Can you make it bigger?
Okay, which area would you like me to? I can go like this. Oh.
So if you want to go up to the top, I'm looking at the top right.
Okay.
Hyper vigilant.
Yep.
That seems right on for me. Certainty, cowardice, yeah. Suspicious, doubt. So that all of that stuff in the green feels right on. Deviance and delinquency. I would like for that to not be true, because that sounds bad. But I guess I'm not against being around certain countercultures or subcultures who would be construed by popular culture as deviants. So I think that deviance and delinquency. I don't know about delinquency for me. Although when I was in school, I did miss the maximum number of days possible each year. I valued my freedom so much that I wanted to. I loved school, but I also loved my free time. So I missed as much school as I could.
You also said avoidance here, so this might be things that the sex avoids. Would they avoid deviance and they avoid delinquency?
Yeah, but she's counterphobic though, and an artisan.
She's not counterphobic. She says she's not. She said she's not.
I don't know.
Ooh, I think you've said you've got some strong counterphobic traits there, haven't you?
Well, she said she's sexual last and self-social and.
Okay.
The reason I think that I'm not counterphobic is that I'm sexual last. But if I were to think about the majority of my life, there's a lot of counterphobic there.
It's just that I think what's happening is, from an Enneagram point of view, a lot of the artisan stuff is going to get put in the counterphobic category, but that could just be, well, that's due to artisan, not necessarily due to counterphobia. Because the artisan temperament values freedom a lot, whereas you've got the 6 that wants the authority. So a little bit of a tug there. And like I said, an Enneagram diagnostician looking at you would look at see the artisan stuff and go, that looks like counterphobic. It's just overlaps with the different systems.
Well, I don't think you're quite rebellious enough to be carphobic. Like your season stuff, yeah, would have said more phobic, roles and authority and stuff.
Like, for example, one of the reasons I think I'm more phobic than counterphobic is, like, for example, I ride a motorcycle, but I'm very afraid of crashing. Like, I think about it, like, prepare myself for it when I prepare myself mentally for days before I go on a ride. I don't just get on and go. Like, I'm very afraid of bodily injury. I think about, like, what could happen. But to somebody else, they might see, oh, there she is on a motorcycle. She must be counterphobic. She's not afraid. But it's like behaviorally.
Well, all counterphobics are afraid, but they're very afraid and they see fear as something to conquer or overcome. I mean, all sexes are kind of a mixture of phobic and counterphobic, so you're showing a mixture of things. That's what I would say. So yeah, if you're counterphobic, you're mildly counterphobic, because that's riding a motorcycle is like it's counterphobic, but it's mildly counterphobic. It's not like going in death races or standing in front of a tank protesting or rubbish.
It's not like I'm out there like Evel Knievel jumping ramps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a contemporary reference for people. Right. Yeah, this is it. So that the talking style might refer to something that she came up with. I don't know if this is an Naranjo thing.
So I don't know.
I mean, because like the Kersey ultimately called the Guardians the logistical safekeepers. So Type 6 sounds very Guardian.
Well, I'd say Guardian sounds Type 6 rather than Type 6.
Guardian 6 as well, yes. Because a stopping mistake by me, well picked up by Jonathan.
That's what I'm here for.
Yes.
To correct.
How Type 1 of you.
Lecturing, directing to what's right and wrong or what should be. That should have been the other way around.
Well, she lives in
another country.
Well, she lived in the Far East.
She
now lives in Europe. Yeah.
Who lives in the Far East?
Nick Helbig.
The person who made this.
I'm trying to. I can't see it.
Okay, I will zoom. Oh, I forgot that you're actually watching this on a mobile device, aren't you?
Yeah.
Shannon, yeah, I forgot that you joined the Hangout that way. Right then. I will be your slide monkey and move it wherever you wish me to move it.
See that Type 8 one, that sounds like a bad description. That sounds like an insulting one. Sadistic, race traps, insensitive, schadenfreude, bullying and stuff, yeah. That's like an unhealthy thing. Type 8.
Bullying. Yeah, that sounds bad.
Yeah, that's like an unhealthy. That's not proper. Lots of real A's will say they don't like bullies and they defend people with bullies.
Well, maybe the healthy 8s don't get typed as 8.
So, well, they'll get typed as A if they're done properly, if they've got a good teacher.
Yeah, I don't see anything about the advocate there.
The advocate. Oh, well, right, for the 8. Well, that's the super healthy 8. I mean,
no, the advocate should be. Yeah. Do you mean for the 8 or the 6? Because. No.
So I will put the slide wherever you want me to put it, Shannon.
So let's look at the type 6.
Type 6.
Don't get carried away. Yeah, that line right there, don't get carried away. That helps me to see the setting limits. I noticed that I do set limits in conversation, now that I see it that way, where if somebody starts to go off the rails in the conversation or on a tangent, I tend to get uncomfortable and I tend to want to limit that. If it's time pressing, I guess.
That also matches in ESI and ISFP, the NE break, not liking the tangenting and wanting people to stay on point.
Yeah, if an extrovert comes in and does the brain dump,
well,
I start to squirm.
So how do you cope with me then, Shannon, when I keep tangenting?
I just let it go.
Let it go, let it go.
Right. So in case the audience don't know, for loquacious, when it mentions it in the type 5, that means talkative. And the noun is loquacity. So if you think of somebody like Jack Aaron, he is loquacious.
What was it we were talking about? Any breakthrough in you?
Wait, it's on screen? It's there? Loquacious is on screen?
Well, yes, but you can be quite loquacious yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Often rambling on without realising it. Okay, not...
There's an even better word for...
Sesquipedalian lost quintessiousness.
Doesn't everyone love to frighten themselves with scary scenarios?
No. So you actually do it because Tom Conner talked about that. He said that the 6 does have these feel worse defenses to sort of motivate them into action. Is that what you do, Shannon?
Yeah, sometimes I'll force myself to hit an emotional rock bottom quicker so that I can get out of it quicker. Like I will feel an emotion and then I will pile on top of it all the thoughts that are related to that emotion in the past. And then it'll just bring me down quicker so I can rise quicker.
Right. Because for me, I just try to... I've always thought that I've been good at turning a negative into a positive. Wow. Let's have a look what that word is there. Let's have a look. Jonathan just went sesquipedalian loquaciousness. Pedalism. No, pedalian. Sesquipedalian. Pedalian. What is that, Jonathan? What does that mean? Sesquipedalian. Wow.
Sounds like a new species.
Yeah, I will. Right then. So, lamentation. You think that's doing this a bit like? Are they all like that? These type 4s, are they like lamenting stuff all while inside? You know, they can have their moments.
Bitchy.
Saturated. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. I'm saturated with all these things to do.
Oh yeah, this is the first time seeing this. This is definitely the most one of the more. I could see how folks would be resistant to these categories on the screen here.
Right. Where it says there, emotionally fry way of speaking. Probably dry. Probably dry. Emotionally dry way of speaking. Yeah. A thin voice. Yeah, this is sort of like introductory Enneagram stuff, I suppose, but it's people get the idea of what the type is about from their talking style.
Right, sorry, I just had a phone call, so.
That is all perfectly acceptable, Jonathan.
Well, it's actually my mum asked, she just randomly phoning because she's watching Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and they just showed the scene with Snoke, and she literally just phoned to ask me, "Where's he from? What did he come from?" They never really explained it, and I've just had to explain to her my Star Wars hatred for the Last Jedi because they kill off this villain character Snoke.
Yeah, it's like, what's the point of that? It's like,
yeah, that's basically just the director wanted to subvert expectations for the sake of subverting expectations.
Oh yeah, and so it wasn't done in the right way. You should say to him, "Look, watch the Twilight Zone, see how it's done."
No, he'll say he's trying to be different.
Yeah, I remember. I saw the videos on it. Yeah.
Yeah, this director Ryan Johnson, he has a philosophy that if the audience sees your film and likes it and generally like it, you've done something wrong. You should really be going for a strong reaction, and he much prefers to make divisive films, controversial films and stuff.
Yeah, it's like Robert McKee would talk about this as the difference between a twist and cheap surprise.
Exactly.
Where with a twist, it has to make sense in hindsight. It has to have actually come out of somewhere and been motivated.
Yeah, whereas the Last Jedi was just a series of cheap surprises.
Yeah.
Yeah. We interrupt this Enneagram hangout to bring you film criticism.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the thing I didn't like. Jedi. I mean, the acting was quite good of the guy that played Snoke.
Well, Andy Serkis in CGI.
Yeah. But I don't like the performance of Kylo Ren. I even googled it, Adam whatever bad actor or bad. I couldn't find anything. I was not happy with the performance.
Everyone quite liked him. His performance was what's his name? Adam Driver.
Adam Driver, yeah. Nothing special to me. And there's the things with the Ridley woman. What's she called?
Ray
Ridley or
Daisy Ridley.
Yeah, there's certain bits that she can act like there's certain little bits of comedy that she does well. Like when she was like firing and she said, "Oh, I enjoy this." That she got right, but then there's other bits where she's not, where she's just limited in her ability.
It's not, partly ability, partly script. The way the character's written is. She's definitely 6. I've seen her interviews. Definitely 6.
It's
we can bring Star Wars into this Enneagram hangout. We can make it. We can weld it in.
Oh yes, we can do. We did Enneagram of the Batman universe. If we did typology of the Star Wars universe, Jonathan, think of the views.
Okay, let's do it then. Let's do it. I can do that.
Yes, right then. We can do that. Right then. We'll do that when Jonathan is next free. So you're happy with that, Jonathan?
Yes.
Typology of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, write it down.
I will do a card right now.
I have put a surprising amount of thought into that subject. So
fantastic. Right then. So what should I show on screen next?
Oh, you're talking to Shannon. Yeah.
Should I go back to the 6 graphic, or which is there a particular type I should show, Shannon?
Let's go to 1. I'm curious about 1.
Well, one's right there. Oh, do you mean the...
Oh, the 1
Such
graphic.
a fun
Okay.
response. It's right there.
There it
It's right in
is.
front of your face.
Well, she is watching it on a mobile phone, so
yeah.
and it's about 2 or 3 feet away. So,
Okay, lecturing. Okay, lecture. The Last Jedi sucked. It's a terrible film. Directing was right and wrong. The Last Jedi was wrong. There's so many things wrong with it.
yeah, I agree.
What should be? The Last Jedi should be different. What are aberrations in the environment? The Last Jedi is in the environment, and it's an aberration. Sermonizing. The Last Jedi should be in hell.
Right, Jonathan.
Oh, that was harsh.
People complain about my ability to write titles. So, what should the hangout be called that we do on Star Wars? On the personality types in Star Wars?
Star Wars typology. I'm sure I could think of something creative, like, the Type Strike Back, or
Oh, that's awesome.
Return of the Enneagram. The Enneagram Awakens. Or
But I'm thinking about, say you've got an audience that doesn't know about typology.
The Last Myers-Briggs. Myers-Briggs, a Star Wars story. Or Enneagram, a Star Wars story.
Yeah, that's it. Enneagram, a Star Wars story.
Typology, a Star Wars story, because we could do both.
Okay, typology. Right, okay.
I have thoughts. I have surprising amount of thoughts on things like, the powers of Jedi correlating to particular Enneagram type. Or
You go for it, Jonathan.
Particular
Make it
Myers-Briggs.
serious.
Particular Myers-Briggs type. This is damn serious.
I'm serious as well. I'm doing the card. This is the card, and I am doing it right now.
So be it.
Typology, a Star Wars story. Is that right? Typology, a Star Wars story?
Excellent.
Right.
It is right.
Right then. So, which one do you want next, Shannon?
I'm still giggling about the Enneagram Strikes Back.
Creative.
Let's go to 3.
Okay.
Actually, the Enneagram Strikes Back may be a better title.
Okay, I because I've got a friction pen, I will put the Enneagram Strikes Back. Can I put Star Wars, the Enneagram Strikes Back?
Of course.
Right.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah, you have to have the hashtags.
Oh, you know me.
Once. Oh.
Right, so we actually get a viral video for once. The fame of Jonathan. Just rock it.
Type 3 will always tell you how wonderful they are doing, how great things are. Yeah, I don't know, I think I'm a 3 by default in my tri-type just because I'm even less of a 2 and a 4.
I wouldn't use the word propaganda, just advertising. Technically the same thing, but advertising is a bit more accurate. Propaganda sounds a bit more negative. Advertising is more how they would phrase it, or marketing.
Marketing,
as it says at the very top. I thought I was being very clever there, but it turns out it's just writing the title. Everything is wonderful, awesome, outstanding. That's more 7-ish. It's not. I wouldn't say that's necessarily 3.
Yeah.
This is like a 7-ish 3.
They've been there, got this, and done that.
Mm.
I guess that relates to the mask of the three. They want to be seen as competent.
Mm-hmm. And successful.
Yeah. That is very 7-ish. Well, I don't know.
Maybe this is one that's like Del Boy.
I have
Sounds
no.
like I want to know the type of the person who wrote it.
Yeah, these are. That's the thing. They're not bad. Her stuff isn't bad. It's just short and straightforward.
Oh, what happened? Oh, Jonathan. Oh, he just killed his mic. Right.
Prematurely.
Right. Which one do you want next, Shannon?
I'm not keeping track.
Okay. Well, let's
go to any other one.
any other one. Right. Number 9. Oh, we've not done number 2 yet.
Always keen to give helpful tips, consoling advice, teaching advice, masters of establishing rapport by giving you their full attention, then telling you what you need.
Is that all right, Jonathan? If you click on my square, that Star Wars: The Enneagram Strikes Back.
Wait, sorry. A minute. Oh, it keeps sending me to. It keeps sending me to your other square.
Oh, if you click on Ben.
Yeah, seeing it. I see it now. It's very small writing, but yes, that will do.
All right. Because you know my titles are too INTP for people.
Yes, a video's been made in that.
Pardon?
A video has been made in that.
Yes. Yeah, I'm talking with famous people. Yeah.
Yeah, we're shouting out, giving a shout out to another channel, talking with famous people.
Yeah.
Go vote for Ben.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Vote this channel.
And they'll probably cite this video as what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. Is this lack of planning? Yes, this has been an improvised hangout, folks. So at least they won't complain about too much TI.
Yeah, so the 2, from what I understand, is somebody who's gonna. They're in the heart center, so they're wanting love. They're wanting.
I'll just say this sentence here is somebody with good comic delivery would make it funny. I can't make it funny, but somebody's saying masters of establishing rapport by giving you their full attention, then telling you what you need. So that's a good sentence, I believe.
Or the unhealthy 2 that will ask you what you need, ask you a question just so they can interject what they think you need.
Yeah.
We do a Star Trek hangout as well because there's a couple of unhealthy 2s in that.
Okay, what should that be called? I'll get the card because I've got the cards here.
Star Trek Myers-Briggs 9.
What about Enneagram 9?
No, because that says that we're talking about Enneagram 9.
Oh, right.
Yeah, there's an actual type called Enneagram 9, Ben. So
Yeah, I know, but what if we called it Deep Space Enneagram 9? Or...
Deep Space Type. That's good. Deep Space Type. But then no one's seen Deep Space 9. They know it. They should have, though. Deep Space 9 is incredible. But even though I'm sure Ben's aching to say it's a rip-off of Babylon 5.
Yeah, also, how about this? J. Michael Straczynski pitched Star Wars, pitched it to them, and they stole his idea about the changeling. I think
I think, 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 I think I've heard conflicting stories about it. I think they stole some things. I think it's more like a specific producer stole things about it, and they didn't find out until later.
But what we'll say, though, what I'll say to J. Michael Straczynski is the idea of something that can change into other things has been around in mythology a long time.
That's true, JMS. You're not quite that, there's original ideas and then there's original ideas.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not the most...
Yeah, even the word changeling goes back hundreds of years, doesn't it, Jonathan?
Yes, indeed. It's to ancient times. Martin Luther said you should drown them. He said that he basically thought autistic babies were changelings and they should be killed.
Ooh, naughty. Now, so
then again, I'm Catholic, so I suppose that's a bit passive aggressive of me.
So, so what are the phrases? Let's get this titled right for the Star Trek one, because I don't want to get blamed for the title.
I like deep space. I like deep space type.
Deep space type.
Yeah. Or enter type. Enneaprize.
Enneaprize.
The original Enneagram series.
if it's just about the original cast. Star Trek, that's it. Star Trek, the original Enneagram series. How about that? Yes, because then we can make it into a series.
Star Trek TOS type.
How about Star Trek, the original Enneagram series?
Yeah,
I like that one.
Well, are we just discussing Enneagram, though? We'll be throwing in Myers-Briggs.
Yeah, we'll make it separate. It rolls up the Star Trek, the original typology series. Doesn't sound as good as Star Trek, the original Enneagram series.
That sounds very good, though.
The original type series?
Star Trek TOS type, TOS type, or Kirk's something.
Star Trek, the original personality series? No.
Star Trek, the Wrath of Type.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. The Voyage type, or the final type, or the final front.
No.
The Type Frontier.
People like
the Type Frontier.
The Wrath of Type is most Star Trek's favorite film. Not mine, but
not mine.
I got one. Star Trek: The Search for Type. But not people don't remember the Star Trek 3.
I haven't seen that in a while, but I have fond memories of it. I think Star Trek 6 is the best for that.
All right.
Undiscovered Country.
There we go. So there, Star Trek: The Wrath of Type.
Titles are work in progress, but okay. I'd be interested to have the new films and contrast them. See how they messed up the types.
Well, yeah, you can do that.
Because Kirk's kind of more of a 7, I think, in the new films.
Is it still ESTP though?
Yeah.
And Jeff told me that most of the ones did not look at the original cast, but the one that played McCoy,
yeah, he told me that.
Did. Or maybe you told me that. I can't remember. You might have told me that. So yeah, Carl Urban. I think that's his name.
Yes, Carl Urban.
Yeah, he wanted, and so he played McCoy like the original.
Yeah, I think Zachary Quinto may have as well. Well, Zachary Quinto, he played Spock, and the old Spock was also in the film. So, yeah. So we interrupt this Enneagram hangout for Star Trek. We're always interrupting this Enneagram hangout for stuff.
Just title it halfway through, like you usually do.
Well, even this one is supposed to be Imogen's choice. So this is sort of an improvised one. So do you want me to move on to a different one, Shannon?
Yeah, I think we haven't done 9 yet.
Okay. 9. And is this true? Go on. There you go.
Jonathan was just going into his 9-ness there.
Well, what happened? I missed it.
My long-winded stories. Long-winded stories roundabout. Rambling out of points.
Because I've been suggesting to Jonathan, why don't we do the typology of this? Why don't we do the typology? And then all along, I could have done Star Wars and...
Yeah, but I would have had to be in the mood for it.
Yeah, that's the thing with Jonathan. I even asked Leon, all the INFJs that you interact with Moody. I was thinking of Jonathan and some other people, some other INFJs. Do they blow hot and cold? He says, no, not really.
Well, moody might not be the right. Being in the mood is not the same as moody, though. Moody's like. That's moody.
We're gonna have to make a GIF out of that one.
Well, that's 2 cards done. Stick them on the pin board. I have the space because I bought an extra pin board. Already got 16 cards on there. You can take 5 more. And then I've got this other pin board here is for the hangouts, which are more immediate. More likely to be next. Is this true, Jonathan, of the 9?
I mean, it can be like it says. I mean, as it says, some names are the opposite of target talking at all, and more solving answers. So, part of me. So I actually find the latter more common than the former, but it's my experience. I mean, my dad's an 9, and he's closer to the latter. So, yeah.
Right then. Is your dad ISTJ? Is he like an ISTJ?
Yes, in my opinion.
I think we did Lamentation. I think we did the Type 4. I'm not sure.
Don't think we did.
Right, so if I put it like this, can you see both 4 and 5, Shannon?
Yeah.
Right.
Bitchy. That's funny.
Are you thinking of a particular person then, Jonathan?
Well, cool, and Nick Helbig must be. She must have been thinking of a particular person.
I wonder if you were thinking of a particular INFJ in a particular European country.
What? No! Wasn't actually. Are you? That's a terrible thing to say. I'm going to tell her you said that.
I was just saw your reaction there.
No, I just found it funny that the word bitchy was in there. I
wasn't
thinking.
Yeah, but it's interesting that you thought of that person. So which person are you thinking about there, Jonathan?
I wasn't thinking of anyone.
Okay,
You
so
did.
how can, if you weren't thinking of anybody, how can you say that you're going to tell them that?
Oh, I know who you were talking about, because you said a certain INFJ in a certain European country. Who else could you be thinking of? I will.
Well, we know more than one.
I don't. I can't think of. In a certain European country, I can't think of one.
No, well, the audience will be able to narrow it down based on the guests.
I suppose there's someone in England, but England's not a different country, is it? It's different from me, but not you.
Anyway, I was just sort of saying it to get a reaction out of Jonathan. I was doing an SP thing. I was just sort of putting it forward there. Anyhow.
I'll just tell her Ben called you a bitch.
No, I never said that. I was just based on And the way you've described your relationship with this person, and I thought that by mentioning that might highlight the relationship that you have with that person.
Not really, no.
You said you described your relationship with that person as frenemies.
Frenemy? Okay, I think we're talking about a different person. Then I don't know. I don't think I've ever said frenemies with regard to this person. There's a lot of triple speak going on.
Yeah. Well, as long as it's amusing, Shannon, that's all that matters.
I suppose we are kind of frenemies, but didn't mean it that way.
So people, well, the person I'm thinking of has been on this channel. Is the person you're thinking of been on this channel as well, Jonathan?
Well, you said already that they've been on the channel. So.
Oh, I forgot I said that.
Yeah.
But
dangerous territory.
No, really. They're gentle.
Okay.
Unless Ben's talking with someone else.
we give enough the audience enough to think about.
No one watches this channel anyway, so it's all right.
Yeah, 800 subscribers. Just subscribe for nothing. Get updates. Oh, there's another video I'm not going to watch. I think everybody who watches it is in it.
Yeah.
On the channel.
Self-sustaining that way.
Yeah.
That's why the guests are good. Because it's the people it appeals to.
I wonder who Nick Helbig was thinking of, though. There's a story behind that.
Yeah, well, she might have got it from the Naranjo version because
that's true. Yeah. That's true. Naranjo was talking about his ex-wife, wasn't he, or his wife or something? Yeah. Also, we know who Naranjo talks about.
Oh, so just on that subject, so I read the history of the Enneagram in Personality Types by Don Riso, and is it accurate, Jonathan?
I haven't read it in a while. I think it's generally accurate.
All right. And then he sort of put, but it was he who changed it into fully developed personality types and not just pathological types.
I think he was definitely one of the people who did it, at least like the sort of moving it away from unhealthy and more towards health levels. Yeah.
I never used that phrase before, pathological types. But I suppose that's what it used to be.
Yeah. We're all messed up.
Any comments, Shannon, on these?
So the 4 lamentation. So the type 4 kind of has a romantic view of the past. So I see the 4 as somebody who's kind of replaying scenarios, romantic, maybe not romantic in the sense of like interpersonal relationships so much, but just like romanticizing things with a little bit of a melancholy that they're more comfortable with than other types. So it's not like necessarily uncomfortable for them to stay in that for long periods of time. So
I remember an interview with Colin Farrell, and I think the actor, the Irish actor, and I may have done this story before to Jonathan, that I think he was being interviewed by Jonathan Ross, and he talked about, actually it may have been on American television. Because for a while there, he had to like train himself not to swear whilst on American television, network television. And he was talking about there was an attraction to the melancholia. Just in hindsight, that sounded quite foolish.
Yeah. I could see him being a 4 or a 4-wing.
A 4-try type. Yeah, but
Good actor
Or
as
having-
well.
4 in his type at all, yeah.
there's a
And then 5, I can see 5 in my wing. The compartmentalization.
This bit here, I mean that is when it says that emotions seem larger than life, affected, exaggerated, saturated, colourful. See, that's one of these things, though. That's true of some fours, but if you were to say, look at somebody like Sana, who is 4-ish, but she doesn't show these things as much demonstrably, then people would say, "Oh, you don't look like a 4."
Well, it's more they're larger than life to the 4. That's the main thing. Like 4s make a big deal of emotions, not
Yeah,
necessarily going to show on their face.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not necessarily going to show to.
Unless they're wearing all makeup, like
Yeah.
eyeliner, tears.
But, in fact, I'll ask you now about this, Jonathan. So, is it a theme with the sexual 4 that they don't necessarily have to show it on their sleeve all the while, that it can come out depending on their relationship? So, for example, say you've got an INFJ sexual 4, are they more likely to show their sexual instinct to those in their inner circle than to, say, show it to everybody that they interact with?
I don't know. I know exactly what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
So, but
Wouldn't it be hard for them not to have the sexual instincts laser focus
yeah,
on one other person? Like, say they're not close to their boss, but they would still, wouldn't they still have that laser beam?
perhaps.
That'd be hard to turn off.
I need to research the sexual instinct more, I think. So, yeah, that's my non-committal answer.
Yeah, because I know what Sana has said about it, that it depends on who she's with, and she's very private with it. And it's with those who are close to her that it's shown in the face. But in terms of the things that she talks about, then it sort of comes through more. But like I said, not everybody has to show these powerful instincts and make a show of it the way it seems here. And yes, there are those 4s that make a show of it because it's part of their image. So it's like the 4s that have to demonstrably show to other people that they're different and unique. Whereas there are those 4s who are like, yeah, I got that covered. I know I'm different. I don't have to shove it down people's faces. But they still have the issues of the 4. And if they're an NF as well, they're gonna have that thing of when they feel they've got that sense of connection, then these things can come out maybe. Because you've got a double up there, haven't you? You've got NF plus sexual, and NFs are all about soulmate and connection. And then if you've got someone who's sexual instinct as well, when they get that connection, so the theory would be, well, from experience and from Sana's case for it, when an NF like hers gets that sense of connection, then the feelings and the emotionality comes out with the person that they've got the connection with.
Well, the main thing is they have to keep looking for it. It's like the main focus in life. Whether or not they show it, they have to be looking for it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and if it's not there, they turn that off. It's like, they can
Yeah,
do
that's
without.
the thing. Yeah, that's what she's like. So if you were typing Sana just based on appearances, it's not. You can't go 100. You can't go just off that. You can't just go off the that data and to say, oh, you're not expressing yourself like a 4.
Getting a little passive aggressive there, Ben.
Yeah, but this is just a theme of, because sometimes I get a little bit empirical too. And I'm like especially with 8s, and it's like, okay, prove you're an 8. What 8ish things have you done? Because lots of people want to be an 8 and not 8. It really is your actions have to follow through to prove it type thing. But you see, that's a blind spot for me, extroverted sensor. Because I think people have to prove it, have to demonstrably be 8 rather than just say it. Because there's lots of people, there's lots of people out there who think they're like natural leadership material or something, and they're not. There's a lot of people can have like a false view of their abilities, and then, but you see, the thing is, I'm blind when it comes to extroverted sensing, and I also don't know Enneagram. I know about 1% of what Jonathan knows about 8s.
I know a lot about 8s.
Yeah, he's not disproving that, folks. He's mulling it over. He's thinking, on maybe 0.8, 1.2. All right.
I'm just marveling at my own magnificence in my head. I know. Yeah, like I know.
Move.
You know what I think about it? I know a lot about Enneagram.
Yes, you do.
I'm quite knowledgeable.
And you've been taking these courses as well.
Yeah.
And how many books have you read on the Enneagram, Jonathan?
Too many.
Too many.
Too many.
And going to be accredited.
Sorry, what?
And you're going to be accredited as well. So will Catherine actually give out a title? When then you can be...
Should be a certificate at the end of it, hopefully.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be great if it means that when you qualified with Catherine, you can then be called...
Dr. Jonathan.
No, the doctor they might not allow, but Master. Master Jedi. Master Campbell.
I think the word is certified.
Yeah. Yeah, that has double meanings.
I like Jedi though.
Certified has double meanings, and I guess I mean both of them.
Right then. So, I mean, isn't it terrible that in this modern world, INFJs who are TE break have to get certified in many instances in order to do what they do best, counselling people. It's like the world is saying, "Oh, now you need a certificate for that."
Damn straight.
I don't know if you've had a similar thing, Shannon, with sort of like, I don't know, based on what I've read on your Facebook profile, like if you get into a situation where you're helping people and advising them, the government, you've got to have these qualifications. Because
does it get annoying that you have to go to university to learn how to jump on the back of ice cream trucks? Like,
yeah.
Pain in the ass.
No, but what I mean is, it's like, because the industry wants to create these regulations in order to prevent small competitors coming in.
No, not just that, also to protect people from fraudsters.
Yeah, I know, but the industry likes to create this barrier of entry as well. But
yeah, they want to protect their income. The ones who teach it want to protect their income, and I think it's frustrating. Like, some people look at the letters behind somebody's name before they'll look at somebody's actual experience with it. To me, that's frustrating. Yeah,
usually that's guardians, because their assumption is that if they've got the letters, they're the people who dole it out. So it's like Haley has had a similar thing with the NASM, the National Academy of Sports Medicine, or is it sports? Yeah, sports medicine. It's like she doesn't like what they teach, and it's like based on stuff that's 20 and 30 years old, but everybody looks towards them, and she hated the fact that she had to pay to take their course when she knows better than them, because she reads the PhD papers by the people who are doing new research, such as Brad Schoenfeld. So, I mean, we know somebody who does counselling. Well, I won't mention a name. We know somebody. I know. Well, Jonathan's been in the hangout with her once, so that's the only clue I'll give, folks. Where she counsels people but the government has said, oh, you've got to learn. And she sort of tried to have like an NFE loophole where it's like, oh, this is like an NFE thing with crystals, but that's what it's dressed up as, but really it's counseling. And so the government of her particular country has said, no, you have to go through these qualifications. And it's like, so this person is now spending time away from the channel getting these qualifications. So she can do what she does best.
Libertarians, man.
Yeah.
Always INTP libertarians. Always it. I know I should watch this.
You wouldn't let me. Jonathan would not let me do that as the thumbnail. It was just a back scratcher.
Yeah, I'd be surprised.
Oh.
For whoever's watching.
Right. So
yeah.
we have lament. So any other comments on lamentation, Shannon?
No, not on lamentation.
I lamented to inform you that I'll have to go in a moment because it's getting a little late and it's warm here. So.
That's okay. We'll wrap up once we've gone through all of these and probably entertain it. Random Enneagram hangout with an emphasis on 6, something like that. Communication styles, I suppose.
See, that's why I had to choose the title for Star Wars.
You had to choose what?
That's why I had to choose the title for the Star Wars video, because that's the kind of titles Ben come up with. Yeah,
I mean, mine are. But what about this one? So we've got Star Wars: The Enneagram Strikes Back.
Awesome.
Well, mainly that was with a heavy input from Shannon, though, because she liked that one, The Enneagram Strikes Back. And then Star Trek: The Wrath of Type. Yeah, Jonathan's suggestion there. There we go.
Star Trek Myers-Briggs 9 is still not bad.
Maybe we'll get an audience member to come up with the title.
I am insulted by that. How dare you? My titles are good.
My type 6 wants to be inclusive.
The problem is when you're doing a Model G one and it's part of a series and you're talking about a particular thing, then I want to show where it is in the series and then how, and so that people know it's part of something larger. And so that's why it has these things of, well, this is the bit in this function and this bit, and that's why they get quite mechanical. But I think that for an INTP audience, that they will follow the bits, and so it's like, right, it's in there in brackets, INFJ, and then this is the function that it's on. And plus, the titles may be complicated, but I'll put it in the thumbnail, and I'll go something like INFJ, FE. That's simple. Nice thumbnail, big green letters, INFJ, and then FE in green letters. So my titles can't be that bad. Anyway, so any thoughts, Jonathan, on the type 5 words there? Because I know you got to go soon. The pressure is on.
Sounds like you. Sounds like you had to say a little bit. But
I'm what? I'm antsy.
Loquacious, often rambling without realizing it. Emotional.
I think that's probably dry.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the in groups thing is. Oh, that depends on the group, I suppose. I mean, in this group, you're not. Perhaps if we put you in a different group that you didn't really talk about, you'd.
Yeah, I'd leave. Yeah. And then I go to sleep and go, "This is why I'm an introvert." I told you that before we went on air.
I think a 5 could have a lot to say if it's their area of expertise.
Well, yeah.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
We've had that when we had hangouts with David Mark Kersey, the son. And,
oh, yeah.
He's been there for hours.
Oh, yeah. And I tried, Ben had a whole competition. Like, if whoever transcribed David Mark Kersey's answers to Goenko's questions, they'd get the Goenko thing next. I made an attempt at that. Biggest mistake of my life.
So what was the experience like,
He
Jonathan?
I did learn quite a lot about doing markers, though. I think it was Karina who ended up getting it, and ended up actually just gave her the stuff I drew so she'd do it faster.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So does this seem, I mean, stereotypical, but just sounds INTP to me.
Yeah.
In fact, it fits INTP more than the other fives because it's got that sort of like supervisee shift where when they're on the territory, they can sort of talk a bit like an ENFP.
Oh, I just got to talking with famous people's hopes up. So I got a message on YouTube because I showed Ben Vasil in the video, so we reviewed this review and talking with famous people. Right, cool, looking forward to watching it, and I just have to say, sorry, we did it off air. I got your hopes up there.
Right then, types. Have we done type 6? Have we done type 7?
No.
So we did 8.
Yeah,
you complained about the 8.
Telling stories, jokes, analogies, talks and all that. Some of that is 6.7 actually. By the time of fiction, making promises, stitch the truth can be, yeah. So we'll do ours. Yeah, that's not inaccurate.
Stretches the truth.
They can things, yes.
Actually, this one does sound a little bit like Del Boy.
Yeah, I told you so many times.
But he does have a strong 3-ish traits. I think he has strong 2-ish traits as well.
I think it's self-praise 7.3.8 maybe. A Donald Trump wannabe, but not actually Trumpish. A bit more.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, they actually contrast him with Boise. Boise is the proper ESTP, will just like cut corners and be ruthless. Whereas Del Boy is not ruthless enough.
Well, that's the wannabe. That's the wannabe part. Like he wants to be as successful as Donald Trump, but he's.
The problem is as David Jason himself said that character of Del Boy Trotter, that the problem was if he didn't sell crap, he could have been Alan Sugar by now.
So Shannon, do you have any idea what we're talking about? No, okay, we're talking about a British sitcom with a character who Ben thinks is a 3 and I've been insisting is a 7. So, yeah.
I bet you were talking about politics.
Nope. No, we're talking about a British comedy about a guy who's always trying to get rich and keeps failing.
But he has a heart of gold as well, and sometimes he will put those people before the getting rich thing. But I mean, mainly with him, what I see is ESFP. And then, oh yeah, so the American Pilot was called This Time Next Year, as in a reference to This Time Next Year We'll Be Millionaires.
Oh.
Right then, so Jonathan's got to go soon, so I might as well close this. And oh, what a weird angle!
The hand of Ben reaching through the screen.
So there we go in a Star Trek: The Wrath of Type.
Yeah, but Star Wars first.
Star Wars: The Enneagram Strikes Back. Thanks to Shannon for bumping that suggestion up because you liked that one. The Enneagram Strikes Back.
Thanks to Jonathan for actually saying it.
Yeah, and thanks to Jonathan for actually saying it.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of Jonathan?
Want the credit, though.
This hangout has been a little bit of a shambles in terms of structure, but did it get okay?
It It's something. It was definitely a thing.
Shannon, you appear to have like got settled in a little bit as the hangout went through.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Hmm.
Right then, so I will stop recording now, folks. I'll let you. I will end the agony, and we can talk a little bit afterwards.
What are you drinking, Shannon?
I am drinking nettle tea.
Okay, because
There you go, folks. Dun dun dun. Nettle tea. For more details, tune in next.